Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WICR. John Stanko here with Kevin Bartnett. It's time for the BS Report at 8:02 on a Tuesday evening. Kevin, how are you doing?
Good, I just came back from my apartment, where I cooked. Watched my Rangers have 2-0 lead on our captain scoring 2 goals,
He's going to be traded.
Who is in the middle of a serious trade rumors right now and showing he does not want to leave New York.
No, he does not.
Which I don't blame him.
What did you cook, though?
I cooked a burger.
Damn it, I'm
George
jealous.
Foreman grill.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Nothing like a good burger.
George Foreman grill, so.
No, you know what they had at Spellman today?
What did
They
have?
had a mashed potato bar where you can put stuff in it and they'll cook it for you. And
I think I may have seen that before. I've never had it, but.
it was tasty.
Really?
Very, very tasty. So that filled me up. That's filled me up pretty good. Now, obviously, this past Sunday, I'm sure you ate a bunch of stuff as well.
Yeah. Could have gained probably an extra pound or two, which I really didn't need to gain, but
Well, I know Denver fans were throwing up everything that they were eating with the sight that was on the television. Everyone knows Super Bowl Sunday was, I think, uninspiring to those watching and, frankly, a letdown. Seattle, though, dominated 43-8, the Super Bowl victory. Super Bowl champions. The Seahawks pounded them from beginning to end. And Kevin, I have to give you credit. You were right. You called the victory, and I salute you.
Literally the first play of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks held the lead for 59 minutes and 48 seconds.
Yep, the fastest score in Super Bowl history.
And which coincidentally his name is Manny Ramirez, not to confuse himself with a baseball player, but that play was on Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
On Manny Ramirez's blunder, then to Percy Harvin's kickoff return. I knew the game was over once Percy Harvin returned that kickoff for a touchdown. Then there was no shot. I was rooting for Denver. I had a simmer of hope, honestly, that Peyton Manning, because I believe if there's maybe a handful of people could pull that comeback off against that defense.
Yep.
And Peyton Manning is one of them. But right after that kickoff, there was not even he could do it. So
yeah. As soon as that last kickoff happened in the second half, I went Sharpie. I just tweeted Sharpie. Period. Because it was over. After that, there was no sign of comeback, no sign of life at all. In fact, it was a great kick by Prater on the kickoff.
Yeah.
To bounce, not let Percy Harvin return it, but yet the coverage was terrible.
And then he's fast.
Exactly, and he just blew by everyone.
Yeah,
and
that was he probably been the best shape he's been in all year, Percy Harvin. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, granted, he played 12 snaps, I think, all season before that game.
Yeah, he got a concussion in the New Orleans playoff game, which he got rocked by I think it was Jared Bush.
Yeah, the name sounds right.
Who hit him in the helmet. He's just been unlucky this year. Hip surgery, was supposed to miss the first 12 weeks, but then he came back against Minnesota, his old team, which they rushed it, but he really wanted to play against Minnesota.
Yep.
And they rushed that, and then he got hurt, and then he played in the New Orleans game, and then it was just a bad year for him, honestly. But he kind of when you make it up for something like that in the Super Bowl, you're worth the first round pick.
He basically, that big contract he got, everything that the Seattle Seahawks gave for him, he made up for in the Super Bowl. He won them. He was one of the huge factors in the Super Bowl.
I'll give them credit, though. I mean, guys stepped up big on offense. Remember, I said Marshawn Lynch would have a big game. Marshawn Lynch
did nothing.
He didn't really have a great game.
Nothing.
He had a 1-yard score, but
at that point, the game was
Jermaine Kearse had a great game. On that, he had great moves on that one touchdown. Golden Tate's filled in nice. He's been a very solid receiver.
He is a tight end, if I am correct, at the end of the season. He's a tight end now.
Golden Tate?
He's a free agent. Excuse me.
He's 5'10", not even 200 pounds.
It's been a long day, but he is a free agent now after this season.
I believe so.
I think
Sidney Rice has been injured and he wasn't able to play. So, if I'm Seattle, I mean, I don't think that. I mean, if I'm Seattle, my main priority to the guys to re-sign now are Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett.
Cliff Averill made a ton of money in the Super Bowl.
Would be my priorities for Seattle. And I would lock up Richard Sherman before he becomes a free agent after next season. I think their main priority is to get Sherman paid right now. Because if you look, Sherman he didn't go to Sherman's way at all, it seems like.
Oh, no. I think he was only thrown to 4 times, I think.
Sherman, coincidentally, was not on their best receiver, and that's Demaryius Thomas, who had a good game.
13 receptions, a Super Bowl record.
And he fumbled once, which was costly. I can't say it's costly when your team was by 35 points.
Exactly.
But, I'll tell you, that Super Bowl was Eric Decker may have lost himself about $5 million, $5 to $7 million.
Where was he?
He had 1 catch.
He did nothing.
I mean, Welker at least had, 6 or 7 catches.
But then he had the giant drop. But, I mean...
of course, yeah, it sounds familiar with you guys, obviously.
I know. No, he did drop...
Everything's small little Wes Welker blunder, it seems like now his Patriots fans jump on.
It's the Wes Welker curse. It's the Wes Welker curse.
No, but I do feel bad from 0-3 in the Super Bowl now, Wes Welker. So
I don't feel too terrible.
Obviously, but Julius Thomas was taken out of the game. He didn't have a big hit. What annoyed me with Denver was they were running the ball a lot on third down when Seattle clearly was stuffing that, and they coincidentally tried way too many screen passes.
Yeah,
that was really bothering me. Obviously, I think Peyton Manning. I mean, clearly, I think he should have taken those gloves off. I think that the gloves had something to do with that. Honestly, he did not try and stretch the defense at all.
Well, granted, he didn't try and stretch the defense against the Patriots either.
I know Sherman's great, but I mean, take a shot when you're down by that much. You gotta take a shot, you know.
Yeah.
It seemed like the one time he was gonna take a shot. Actually, he got hit in the elbow.
He got hit in the elbow and
then was picked off by Malcolm Smith, who ended up winning the MVP.
Side note, I was happy to see a defensive player win the MVP.
I mean, I would have given it to, honestly, the whole defense if you could have. Their defense was spectacular.
The whole entire defense gets a call.
I mean, Cam Chancellor, Richard. You can even throw Richard Sherman in there because he didn't throw to him at all, and that just shows how good you are if he doesn't throw your way.
If Peyton Manning doesn't throw your way, you know you're good.
Yeah.
You know you're good.
Even with guys like Byron Maxwell, who just came in there and did their job, like when Brandon Brown gets suspended, Earl Thomas, I thought Chancellor was the more impressive of the safeties. From what I had seen the Seahawks, everyone was giving Earl Thomas a little hype. I thought Chancellor was the better of the two safeties, to be honest.
10 tackles for Chancellor, 6 of them solo. I mean, and he had 2 pass deflected.
Yeah. I thought
Great game for Chancellor.
I thought Chancellor, from what I saw the Seahawks play this year, was the better safety, but Thomas gets all the hype.
I think Thomas is a harder hitter, that's why.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, hey, that whole secondary is really good.
Oh, the first pass crossing out to Demaryius Thomas, he gets leveled
by Chancellor,
and that set the tone for the entire game. That one hit.
I thought honestly the fumbled snap at the beginning. I mean the snap over.
I know
that was just right from the get go. I mean, it was like
that set the tone for the Denver's offense, I think. But the hit by Seattle on Demaryius Thomas by Chancellor set the tone for the Seahawks defense.
Oftentimes it's weird. Peyton Manning still threw for a lot of yards. He still threw for over 300 yards, if I'm correct.
He also had the most completions ever in a Super Bowl as well.
So they moved, though. It's like they were moving the ball, but what was overlooked is what they started out in bad field position a lot.
We talked about that. We said special teams would have a big impact. We said that on our last show.
I mean, they had bad field position to begin with. Trendon Holiday, and he's one of the best returners in the game. He took a couple of bad kickoffs out, and Seattle's special teams is great. So
first kickoff of the game takes out, doesn't get back to the 20.
They play their starters on the kick return, Seattle. They play a lot of starters. They play Chancellor. They play Earl Thomas on kickoff, excuse me. So, I mean, that's risky when you do that. And they said but then oftentimes Denver would get to the opposing territory, it seems like, in the second and third quarter, and they just couldn't do anything about it because Seattle knew what to do. Yeah. Apparently Richard Sherman said that by the second quarter, Seattle had figured out all the hand signals and the calls.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, when you have 2 weeks it just shows you. When you have 2 weeks to prepare, I guess when you're Seattle's day, how good they really are. Yeah. I mean, because that offense had no problem putting up points, so.
I mean, listen, the old motto is defense wins championships. And people go, oh, this offense is simply amazing. All right, I learned firsthand in 07, offense does not win you championships. Yeah. Because at that time, the Patriots' offense was record setters. This year, Broncos were even more of record setters, and neither time they could overcome a good defense.
Yes, I couldn't agree more, man. That game was just such a letdown, though, honestly. Like, I mean, because
I was bored.
This was probably the most hyped up Super Bowl. I think maybe since the Patriots were undefeated going into the Super Bowl.
I can agree with that.
I mean, that was a hyped up Super Bowl.
Because you had the perfect best offense, best defense. Boom, let's go at it.
It was really heavy.
And it was not even.
I'll tell you. You want to know what I was most excited about? Actually, was Kurt Russell's pregame intro.
Oh, really? Oh, that was really good.
Yeah,
it was really good.
I have it right here, actually. If you, I mean, for people like who didn't get to see it. I'm a big fan of the pregame intros, honestly.
I am too.
So
I like it when they have the specific person from the town do it. Like I think in the AFC Championship, Dennis Leary did it for the Patriots.
Kurt Russell did it. I mean, he
was great for both sides.
I have the Seattle one. I think wouldn't you just hear this though?
It's just really good.
It is really just bad. You know what?
It's really good.
Hey, how about these ball hawks from the Pacific Northwest? Oh, I get it. Some might call them overconfident, a little bit full of themselves, but is it bragging if you back it up? Let's see. You hit them, they hit you harder. You get in their face, they get right back in yours. Basically, anything you do, they'll do better. Hold on. This isn't a sightseeing, we're just happy to get back to the big dance kind of thing for these guys. These fellas have meant business all season long. A hit first, ask questions later defense, a beast moves the earth when he runs, and a quarterback destined for this spotlight. So what do you say, Seattle? That other team may be a mile high, but we all know you guys crank it all the way up to 12.
I mean, right? If you were just going on that, show me what a team is, I would have been afraid of them, honestly.
Oh, I love the Spinal Tap reference at the end.
Yeah,
loved it.
Yes, I mean, he did one for Denver too, but Seattle.
It wasn't as good.
Seattle's was a way more intimidating one.
Oh no, it was.
What's weird is like every word he said in that was true. You hit them, they hit you harder.
Mm-hmm.
You get in their face, they'll get right back at yours. It was right on about that. That's just the thing. They are just a nasty. They're all. I mean, when I realized when when you hear this though, I thought that was the most entertaining part of the game. Honestly, I was pumped up after seeing that.
By the end of the first quarter, the game was lopsided, and you knew it. And then by the third quarter, after that first kick return, I was like, I am bored watching this game because it's not even competitive anymore.
And the commercials didn't even help either because those were bad.
There were two commercials that really got my attention, not including the movie trailers because every single movie trailer gets my attention.
Transformers.
No, I will go off on Transformers if you like. I will go off.
No.
Not now. I will go off later though. The Radio Shack '80s commercial was awesome. Because it just brought every retro thing back, and it was great. They had so many people in it. Fantastic. Also, Jack Bauer.
24. It's the best show ever. One of my favorite shows ever.
America.
Yeah.
I was more pumped about that than at any point about the game.
You know what, one of my favorite commercials, because this was one of my other favorite shows growing up, was the Full House Dannon commercial.
I never watched Full House growing up.
fan, so that was fun seeing that. So
it was dirty though, dirty for the Full House cast.
Yes, dirty. Yes.
But I've never seen Full House, so that really didn't resonate with me at all.
Watch Nick at Night or something, man.
No, I've never have. I've also never seen an episode of French Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh man, you're really missing it. You really gotta watch ABC Family or Nick at Night.
I have never seen either of those shows.
But anyway, back to the game. What do you think that this does in terms of Peyton Manning's legacy? This game.
That's a question everyone's tossing around. Listen, it didn't help it. It's obvious now. The question is, how much did it hurt it? And I'm going to be honest, I think it hurts it a lot.
I don't think it's a lot because when you lose by 35 points, it's not solely on one guy while you lost.
Listen, but
his team got manhandled.
Yes, his team got manhandled, but Peyton Manning has the persona that he can overcome any defense. He's built that because he's been so good for so long. People expect him to do it, whether it's reasonable or not. Regardless, though, when he couldn't answer back anything that Seattle did, he did not have an answer for. There was nothing there was no point in that game where I felt like, all right, Denver is on a groove now and they'll be able to get back in this game. Nowhere after they were down by maybe 3 scores did I think that they can come back.
I agree. It definitely hurts his legacy. I think the thing is, it's weird because I think he's done so much in the regular season and he's made his team so much better. Like, the Denver Broncos were not even close to being a Super Bowl contender until he came along. Demaryius Thomas was a first-round pick, was considered a bust until Peyton Manning came along. Eric Decker has had basically just earned himself a lot of money this offseason, possibly. He lost a lot probably during the Super Bowl. He's getting he'll get a nice contract though in the offseason.
Patriots, look at him.
whether it's from Denver, the Jets I heard are interested, New England.
New England's interested.
I heard San Francisco might be interested in Eric Decker.
Ooh, because Anquan Bolden's a free agent too.
Yeah, so I heard. I mean. He's gonna get a nice contract. Maybe not the money, the dollars after he won it, but it will be a nice deal. I just think what's weird is everyone obviously compares Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. I think they're just two different types of players if you really think about it. Manning's more smart, reads the defenses better. Brady just throws it up, man, and Brady's just more of a bad dude, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I didn't see Peyton getting anyone's face on the sideline. During when they were down by a lot.
Well, he's also the kind of guy who's it's his fault. Yeah.
No, exactly. But that's the thing. I think that hurt him in this game because when you're down by 3 scores, Brady would be yelling at other people to step their game up. You saw it throughout the year. He would yell at them, and people would be like, "Why is he yelling?" But the team would respond. That's I think what they needed because I didn't see anyone on that Broncos sideline. Maybe they didn't show it on TV, and that might be true. I'm not there. But But I didn't see anyone step up and say, guys, what are we doing? We're playing awful. Let's step it up. I didn't see anyone do that. They were all shell-shocked from the start.
That's never really in there. It's not really in them, both their Manning brothers, because believe me, I'm a diehard fan of a team who has a Manning brother as a quarterback. So it's not their nature really to get in other people's faces. Eli has never done that, and I don't see why Peyton would do that. And I'm sure Archie wasn't like that. If they have any children maybe that play in the NFL, I doubt their children will be like that. So I think Peyton just maybe tried to do too many different things maybe on the sideline, because in-game he changes a lot of things. Some of these calls that he makes a line, he makes them in-game. He like the new things for in the game. So I was just – it's weird, though, because you just hate to see that to a guy like Peyton Manning when he's coming off such a historic season, and he is just generally one of the most likable players this league has ever seen.
Let me say this. I do not want to see Peyton Manning retire off that loss.
Absolutely not.
Listen, I'm a Patriots fan. I respect Peyton Manning. I don't like him on the field, but I love him as a person.
If I were Peyton Manning, I would try and go for 3. I would shoot for Tom Brady, honestly.
He deserves another year to come back and do something special, because that loss, it does not indictify what he did throughout his career. That was a blimp. It was a big blimp. That's really going to hurt his legacy, I think, but it's not who he is. And he can come back next year, and he could put up better numbers than this year. But he still has to deliver in the big spot, and that's always been his problem.
I had thought with Peyton Manning, if he had won this Super Bowl, that he may have actually been the greatest quarterback ever.
I do not argue with that.
He has done enough, honestly, with the 5. He's got 5 MVPs.
Insane.
I mean, people could say that he's thrown to Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Demaryius Thomas, all these great receivers, but at the same time, he's never really had a phenomenal defense either. Like Tom Brady and those Tom Brady and Belichick. The early Belichick. I mean, recently the Patriots defense has been bad, but when you compare that, Tom Brady may not have had the weapons Peyton Manning's had, but he had Belichick as his coach and a good defense. And the early years they won the Super Bowl. So if you're comparing, Montana had Rice, and then Bill Walsh as his coach. So there's so many odd things that you could think of, honestly.
But granted, Payne had a good coach too. He had Tony Dungy for a while.
Yeah,
Tony Dungy's a very good coach.
Dungy's not on the level of Belichick and Bill Walsh.
No, but again, he's still an above-average coach.
I still think that those are the top 3, in my opinion, of all time. Would be Manning, not in order, because it's just too hard. Manning, Brady, and Montana.
I think Montana's number 1.
I would still put Montana number 1. He's got 4. So
no, Montana's number 1, I think, hands down.
Montana's got 4.
After that, it's up for debate after that. But I think you have to put Montana number 1.
And Montana was even good when he played for Kansas City. So
exactly. No, listen, I think this really does hurt Peyton Manning. But do I think he can't bounce back from it? No. I think he can come back next year, put up more numbers, people will forget about it, and they'll be Super Bowl contenders next year if he comes back.
It's weird though, because when you fully watch him, his arm just seems gone.
Oh my God.
He doesn't throw the ball away. He has no zip on the ball whatsoever.
If his arm is weak. There's no denying it. Listen, like he could still throw the deep pass.
He still throws a great spiral.
It's a great spiral, but it's a lob of a deep pass. You see quarterbacks now when they throw deep, they can throw a deep line drive. Brady has great arms because he could zip the ball in there on a 5-yard slant route, and then he could just stick it in their chest. And
Brady was drafted in all these guys are seems like all these guys are baseball players now. These quarterbacks,
exactly.
Brady was drafted in baseball. Kaepernick, Wilson, all these guys.
Yeah, everyone. When you have a rocket arm, you can get it into those tight spots and those tight spaces. Peyton Manning can do it because he's smart, but is there going to become a point where his arm becomes too weak to do it? And you hate
He's getting older. He's not getting any younger.
Exactly. Well, I mean, same goes for all the old age quarterbacks now. That era, frankly, Manning, Brady, they're both approaching their yesteryears.
Yeah, I think that Manning. I think next year, I think that's it. Honestly, no matter what next year, I think that's going to be. He's going to be 38 years old. I mean, I think he's playing no matter what the doctor says. No matter what the doctor says, he's playing. I think.
I don't think. I think he'll retire if the doctors say don't do it.
He don't want to go out like that.
I know he doesn't.
He's such a competitor.
I know he doesn't, but you know how many opportunities he's going to have outside of football?
He does have 3 more years on his deal left, too, so he may even want to play out his contract. That's a lot of money.
I don't think he's that type of person to just play for the money, though.
He's probably not, but when you're making that much money, that's definitely a deciding factor.
It's definitely a factor in the decision.
So what was it, 5 years, $97 million or something like that?
A ton of money.
So, yeah, I mean.
A ton of money.
Almost $20 million a year. I mean, I would do that even if I, But, yeah, him and Brady. I think Brady maybe's got 2, maybe 3 years left because he's about 2 years younger than Manning.
He's 37.
Brady's 37?
He's 37.
I thought Brady was 35 or 36.
37.
Brady's 37?
I just read an article about today. He's 37 years old.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Manning's 38.
Manning's 38.
See, the thing is, neither of these guys are as tough as Favre was. See, Favre playing in his 40s, maybe they want to try and be like, no, neither of these guys were like Brett Favre when it came to toughness. So.
I also don't think neither of these quarterbacks have taken as many hits as Brett Favre.
Yeah, Brett Favre still has some velocity on the ball at the end of his career, so. But it really is a shame to see it. Obviously, that's why. I mean, I was hoping it would have been a close game because that would have been a lot more exciting.
Oh my God, yeah. I was bored as a sports fan, as a football fan.
I just don't know what to say.
I was bored with the Super Bowl
because you can't talk about what ifs and everything because Seattle was just better in every aspect of the game.
There was nothing good that Denver did.
Every aspect, Seattle was just better. I mean, Denver got no pressure on Russell Wilson. They didn't tackle. I mean, if you saw Jermaine Kearse's touchdown, how many he broke 3 or 4 tackles on that, which is unreal.
Also, great stat is that the Seattle pressured Manning all game long. They only recorded 1 sack, but they were in his face for every play.
They hit his elbow on in the interception. Malcolm Smith then ran it to the house, and Percy Harvin.
Another great stat I read on Twitter was that when Manning wasn't pressured, he had a 99 QBR during the game. I kid you not. But when he was pressured, it was only 33. Seattle defense, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it was they pressured him 174% more often than any other team did during the regular season.
Wow.
That's how much pressure they got on him.
And
I don't remember. It was an ESPN reporter who had it or somewhere.
It seems like now all of a sudden, because, I mean, people like to make excuses, it seems like, for a lot of things. Because when I heard how many people Denver were missing on that defense was Chris Harris Jr., Derek Wolf, Von Miller. They were missing a lot of guys, but they were missing these guys for a long time. None of these guys got in the way. I mean, Chris Harris was hurt. He missed the AFC Championship.
Yes, he did.
I mean, they didn't have Ryan Clady all year long. Then all of a sudden, if Ryan Clady plays and there's no pressure, I mean, that might be true, but he hadn't played all year. So
another question for you: Champ Bailey, is he retiring after this season?
15 years. I mean, I think he should honestly because he's not good anymore. He's not reliable anymore. He was the nickel receiver to Rogers Cromartie, and Chris Harris Jr. So
yeah, you don't want to pull a Ed Reed and play until no one respects you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and Reed I think should retire too.
Oh my God, yes.
But I think he's gonna stay with the Jets.
I think that's the Rex Ryan connection he has with him.
Yeah, I mean Rex Ryan deserved another year on his deal for sure. So.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yes. All right, well, how about we take a short commercial break?
Absolutely.
We'll come back, discuss a little bit more NFL, wrap up the season, maybe look at some of the big free agents out there, what's going to happen then. Maybe a little bit preview of the NFL draft. It's never too early.
I love the NFL draft. It's my second birthday. I love it.
It is never too early. I want to thank you, everyone, for joining us here this Tuesday evening on the BS Report. We'll be back right after this.